Today we're going to talk about 10 ways to have a better conversation. So I have 10 basic rules. I'm going to walk you through all of them, but honestly, if you just choose one of them and master it, you'll already enjoy better conversations. So let's break it down. Number 1, don't multitask. And I don't mean just set your cell phone down or your tablet or your car keys or whatever's in your hand. I mean be present. Be in that moment. Don't think about the argument you had with your boss. Don't think about what you're going to have for dinner. If you want to get out of the conversation, get out of the conversation. But don't be half in it or half out of it. Number 2, don't pontificate. If you want to state your opinion without any opportunity for response or argument or pushback or growth, write a blog. Now there's a really good reason why I don't allow pundits. It's because they're really boring. If they're conservative, they're gonna hate something. Obama or food stamps. If you're really liberal, you're gonna hate big banks or corporations or Dick Cheney. All totally predictable, and you don't want to be like that. You need to enter every conversation assuming that you have something to learn. That famed therapist, M. Scott Peck, said that the true listening requires a setting aside of oneself. And sometimes that means setting aside your personal opinion. He said that sensing this acceptance, the speaker becomes less and less vulnerable and more likely to open up the inner recesses of his or her mind to the listener. Again, assume that you have something to learn. Bill Nye, everyone that you will ever meet knows something that you don't. Put it this way, everybody is an expert in something. Number 3, use open-ended questions. In this case, take a cue from journalists. I used to be one. Start your questions with who, what, where, when, why, and how. If you put in a complicated question, you're gonna get a simple answer out. If I ask you, were you terrified? You're going to respond to the most powerful word in that sentence, which is terrified. And the answer is going to be, yes, I was, or no, I wasn't. Were you angry? Yes, I was very angry. Instead, let them describe it. They're the ones that know. Try asking them things like, what was that like? How did that feel? Because then they might have to stop for a moment and think about it, and you're going to get a much more interesting response. Number 4, go with the flow. That means thoughts will come into your mind and you need to let them go out of your mind. We've heard interviews often in which someone is talking for several minutes and then someone comes back in and asks a question which seems like it comes out of nowhere because in there it's already been answered. That means that someone probably stopped listening about 2 minutes ago because they thought of this really clever question and they were just bound and determined to say that. So they stopped listening to anything else so they wouldn't forget that question. We do the exact same thing all the time. We're sitting there having a conversation with someone and then we remember that time that we met a friend in a coffee shop and then we stop listening. Stories and ideas are going to come to you. You need to let them come and let them go out. Number 5, if you don't know, say that you don't know. This one, I have people in my life that just can't say they don't know. They have to give you an answer. And I can guess. If you don't know, just tell me you don't know. People on the radio, especially like NPR, are much more aware that they're going on the record. So they're more careful about what they claim to be an expert in and what they claim to know for sure. Do that. Err on the side of caution. Talk should not be cheap. Number 6, don't equate your experience with theirs. If they're talking about having lost a family member, don't start talking about the time you lost a family member. If they're talking about trouble they're having at work, don't tell them about how much you hate your job. It's not the same, it's never the same. All experiences are individual. And more importantly, it's not about you. You don't need to take that moment to prove how amazing you are or how much you've suffered. Somebody once asked Stephen Hawking what his IQ was. He said, I have no idea. People who brag about their IQs are losers. Conversations are not a promotional opportunity. Number 7, try not to repeat yourself. It's condescending and it's really boring, and we tend to do it a lot, especially in work conversations or in conversations with our kids. We have a point to make, so we just keep rephrasing it over and over and over again. Don't do that. Number 8, stay out of the weeds. Frankly, people don't care about the years, the names, the dates, all those details that you're struggling to come up with in your mind. They don't care. What they care about is you. They care about what you're like, what you have in common. So forget the details. Leave them out. Number 9, this is not the last one, but it's probably the most important one, and that is to listen. I cannot tell you how many really important people have said that listening is perhaps the most important, the number 1 most important skill that you can develop. So stop talking all the time and listen. You'll learn so much more. Buddha said, and I'm paraphrasing, if your mouth is open, you're not learning. And Calvin Coolidge said, no man ever listened his way out of a job. So think about that. Why do we not listen to each other? Number 1, we'd rather talk. We like the stage. When I'm talking, I'm in control. I don't have to hear anything I'm not interested in. I'm the center of attention. I can bolster my own identity. But there's another reason. We get distracted. The average person talks about 225 words per minute. But we can listen at up to 500 words per minute. So our minds are filling in those other 275 words. And look, I know it takes effort and energy to actually pay attention to someone, but if you can't do that, you're not in a conversation. You're just 2 people shouting out barely related sentences in the same place. You have to listen to one another. Stephen Covey said it very beautifully. He said, most of us don't listen with the intent to understand. We listen with the intent to reply. All right, so one more rule, and that's number 10, and it's this one. Be brief. Be interested in other people. You know, I grew up with kind of famous grandfather, and there was kind of a ritual in my home. People would come over to talk to my grandparents, and after they would leave, my mother would come over to us, and she'd say, you know who that was? She was the blah, blah, blah. He was the blah, blah, blah. And we would listen to that. I kind of grew up assuming that everyone has some hidden, amazing thing about them. And honestly, I think that's what makes me a better listener. I keep my mouth shut as often as I possibly can. I try to keep my mind open, and I'm always prepared to be amazed. And I'm usually not disappointed. You do the same thing. Go out, talk to people, listen to people, and most importantly, be prepared to be amazed. Carry on.